Greetings! Welcome to a very special 4th of July devlog for hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades. We're going to start off as always with a quick sound check. Make sure speakers aren't up too high. Bammo. Wonderful. So what have we got for you this week? Well, as I said, it's a very special update. You'll notice that I have bullet trails on because I've got some things to demonstrate. We are doing a devlog and an update out of phase today instead of on Friday because it's about to be the 4th of July, and I wanted to put in something extra special, something ridiculous, something that has been requested in various forms for quite a long time for the holidays. And I thought there could be no more appropriate 4th of July object than a freaking cannon. That is right, a full-blown cannon. This is a 6-pounder field gun. It has been a colossal pain in my butt to get working, both from a perspective of some degree of accuracy, and then, of course, making it also be able to do lots of the things that you would want to do with a cannon in H3. It's important that it's not just a cannon, but that it's an H3 cannon. So, where to start? Well, first off, one of the things that made this as difficult as it is, pull that out of here, is that this is in fact a physical object. If I can barely push it. Let's grab a larger object here, our scraper here. If I jam this in here, you can see that this actually does move. The collision is fairly accurate on it. It is very heavy. The way that you are supposed to move this is to grab it by this back piece here, and you can use that to push it forward, drag it left and right to aim. I love capsule colliders in Unity. Just look, it stopped dancing for us. So yes, this is how you move said cannon. If you wish to aim said cannon up and down, we have this elevation screw here that you can grab and twist. And then how do we fire our cannon? Well, let us go ahead and get our standard cannon shot. This is just a ball for a 6-pounder already bundled up with the powder charge. One thing that is a little annoying about this, which will make sense later, is that I have had to tag the body of this device as being on the environment layer. Which this means is if I reach my head over this, I will jump up on top of it. The reason for this is simply put because I know you folks are going to want to fire lots of things out of this cannon, including stuffing explosives in it. And the only way I can make it so that those explosives don't kill you is to turn the cannon's barrel into an environment object. It's just the way the game was built, and it's too late to change. Anyway, let's slam that down. I've given you a sponge ram here, but it is not actually necessary. I have made the inside of the barrel frictionless in the name of being able to do more fun things with it. So how do we set this up? Well, we'll go with the first most authentic way to fire said cannon. So I have put a charge in here, and for those of you who don't know how cannons work, we have the shot, we have like a metal wadding block here, and a whole bunch of powder in a pouch. The way that these would work is that down here on our little access port on the rear, we would jam a little metal rod in. And so right here mounted to the cannon, we can pull one of those out. This is set up basically like a dagger, so I can just click that to invert it. And basically just jam this in once. It doesn't have a special sound effect yet because I ran out of time. But suffice to say, if you get it inside the hole at least once, it will pierce the bag. And then we can pull out a friction primer. The way a friction primer works in real life is that this is filled with powder, and it's got this little metal bit here tied to string, and when you pull that violently away from the brass tube, it creates some sparks inside here, ignites that powder, and then that powder shoots down to the exposed powder in the charge, firing the cannon shot. So we can now insert that friction primer in there, grab the little string, which we have here, which obviously, because I can't simulate string physics-wise efficiently, it's just magical stretchy string here. We can pull this back to about here, because we don't want to be behind the cannon when it fires. And then we just pull this violently to the left. Bammo! Cannon. I have turned on the bullet trails in part because of the fact that this lets off a lot of smoke. It can be very difficult to see where the projectile has gone. So, there is our basic projectile. Let's run back over here and grab our ammo spawner. In case you're wondering, yes, it is in the item spawner. It's in a weird place in the item spawner, just temporarily. I'll actually make a category for it. But right now it's under remote explosives under tools and toys. I thought that would be humorous. Also, I've been using some of the remote explosives for other things. Oop, this was already locked. What am I doing? Speaking of, let's go ahead and grab some C4 for reasons. Yeah, there we go. Let's come on over. Next thing here, so if we go under exotic, this should be ordnance. We have cannon, 3.67 inch. We have, that was shot. This is shell. So in real life, these would actually be tunable fuses, but I don't have that functionality on my rounds. So this has just been fused for a specific distance. Pop that in. Grab, did we duplicate our primer? Of course we didn't. There we go. Jam that in there. Pierce our shell. Put in the primer. Grab the string, and bammo! So this is an air bursting shell. Let's wait to see our... You know what? That might have... You know what? I believe that actually struck before exploding. I've had some difficulties with this. Basically, I completely re-implemented a different type of projectile for the cannonball for the very specific reason that H3 projectiles have a limited amount of sort of penetrations through targets that they can do. Some of you may have noticed this playing around. This is for performance reasons, among other things. Balance as well. The cannonball shells work a bit differently, as this cannonball has about as much muzzle energy behind it as a bus hitting you. Small bus. Maybe minivan. And so what that means is that it most certainly does not stop after, like, 4 things that it hits. It just keeps on going. Here we go. Let's try again. Shell number 2. Ammo. There we go. So there you can see the shrapnel pattern of the thing exploding. Before I actually, for whatever reason, the submunitions are not going off if it strikes something before that goes off. So I will fix that before I push an update. We have a canister shell here, which this was, from everything I've read, this was more of a desperation, like, oh goodness, the enemy is getting within about 400 meters sort of thing. And you can sort of think of this as, well, mega buckshot. Let's lower the inclination of that a bit. Put our fuse in. Let's lower it a little more, actually. Yeah, there we go. Let's bend down. Yeah, that's better. And let's get a Sosig spawner here. Doot. Get some naked volunteers. The best kind of volunteers. I don't know if we're perfectly aimed with these. And this is only about, actually only about a 2-degree spread. So this is probably only going to hit 1 or 2 of them. Let's find out. This is more mainly for firing at folks who are like 100 meters away. Bam! Well, we definitely hit at least 1 of them. Mainly, it looks like 2 or 3. Either way, they absorbed that canister shot bravely. And our panel screwed up our cannon here. And of course, because it's an H3 thing, it wouldn't be an H3 ammo type without some freedom fetty. Let's re-aim this cannon. There we go. Beautiful. Pop that in there. Yup. Friction primer. We're not blocking the cannon from recoiling. Excellent. String. And happy 4th! Oh, the confetti rounds never cease to amuse me. Very effective. Wonderful. So, I'm sure at this point you've been like, that's very nice, Anton, but can we really only fire that way? Like, it's a cannon. And the answer is no. I spent probably a majority of my time figuring out not just how to, how to put this. I tried to take a lesson from some of the disappointing things about the flintlocks, which is that the flintlock I implemented in this hyper-realistic way, and it's got all these little futzy interactions. You can put the flint in and yada, yada, yada. But to do all of those rendering effects, I made the flintlock super inflexible. You can't do anything ridiculous with the flintlock, despite the fact that I guess you could in real life. So for this cannon here, I decided to err on the side of ridiculous. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is that we can in fact just put some C4 down the bottom of this. And, I don't know. Let's get, let's get some triple hit shells here. We don't, actually, no, we might need you. I need too many things in my pockets. There we go. Get some shells. Yoink, 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 yoink. Perfect. Get some more volunteers. We tilted the cannon up, actually, so this might shoot over the heads of them. Let's find out. And C4 out, and kablooey! Oh, wonderful. Yep, it was mainly over their heads. That is a whole lot of very lucky Sosig right there. Let's fix that. Let's fix that. Tilt this back down. There we go. There we go. Let's try oh, I don't know what to put in. Let's put some C4 in and I don't know. How about an RPG-7 rocket? Yeah, that sounds unreasonable. Do-do-do, wham! Up. This is a little front heavy because of the way center of mass works in physics. Yoink! Oh, come on. Almost there. There we go. Beautiful. Just like we intended. And rocket cannon! Oh, that was everything I hoped it would be. Wonderful. So you can just do all sorts of ridiculous combinations with this. Another great example of one, I think it's under, is it under exotic or ordnance? No, it's ordnance. If you just want to just lay out just a tremendous amount of anti-Sosig devastation, you can just put a whole bunch of these Inferno rounds in here. Where'd my, there you are. Let's see here. Let's create a spread of them here. As you can see, I am laying out agents in regular Arizona range. So just like the night version of the scene, there is now actually some nav mesh in here. And so you can get down to all sorts of hijinks in this scene. Remember the outdoor Sosig spawner, for those of you who want to have team fights, is now in. It's in the utility section. Cool. Are we lined up? No, we are not lined up. There we go. We're probably way too high of an inclination. Let's fix that. There we go. This should be good. And we don't even have to use the C4. The C4 is just a really fun way to do it at a distance. If we want to just get close up and personal, as long as this still works, you can in fact just jam a gun right into this port and fire. Oh, helps to actually have a round in there. Da-da-da-da-da. Ammo! Now that is how you do some grilling. Wonderful. Up! One of them escaped! No! He'll tell the others what we do! There we go. Secret kept! So so there is the cannon. There's obviously a whole bunch of other stuff you can do with this. I tried to basically, I ported over some code from the Thing Flinger. Allows you to do some ridiculous things. We can grab an impact grenade here. This one I am definitely setting off with a C4. Throw a bunch of these. into the bore. Kablamo! Wonderful. So yeah, can send all sorts of things downrange with the cannon. I hope it ends up being everything you hoped. There's still a bunch of cross interactions that I want to get in. There's obviously a little bit of polish that could be done in terms of like sound and to make states a little more clear, but I wanted to just get this into the game today in time for the holiday so that you folks can enjoy it. I look forward to seeing what ridiculous things. I'm sure someone's going to figure out a way to like rig up an auto loader for this thing, and I look forward to seeing whoever manages to make that work well first. So, because you're definitely going to have to find a way to like brace the cannon exactly in place. I have made it difficult for you, so I hope that is an enjoyable challenge. Beyond that, in terms of what's in this update, let's actually go back to our spectator panel. I'm going to turn off that spectator mode just in case it interferes. We're going to go over to the Arizona at night scene. So for this week, the testing of the thermals and night vision is still in super early, unfinished jank city. Just because I would have normally not even put out an experimental build this week yet, because there's still too much to do. Otherwise, the holiday happened. But this does mean that there is something that you can check out. I am keeping this scene as dark as it is. There are the thermals that I showed you folks before that you can check out on the table. You can barely see anything here. There is the first prototype of one of the head-mounted ones. This is a monocular one. It should automatically respond to IPD correctly. It will auto-place onto whichever eye you are closest to when you apply it. It's B, Y button, or touchpad up based on your control scheme. So put this here, bam, it's on my left eye. So we're seeing that. Super cool. If I go like this, the controller's so bright it dims the rest of the image, which I just love. And we can grab it. It's right in the center of our face. We can click BY or up to toggle it up or down, like so. Or we can click down or AX to pull it back off of our face. Put it on the other eye if you want. And so yeah, so here is your first test of that. Ollie and I are working on just like still building the framework for these tools, because it needs to be able to handle all of these mounting styles and how many eyes are being used and auto calibrating to the IPD of the user and things like that. So that's all in flight. We're still working on it. So, but if you want to check out this very early test of it, you can do so. Select held type, tracer. Yo! So, out of VR, as I said, this is like a super early, incomplete test of all things related to night vision, lasers, etc. I only even have the new laser systems on one of the attachable lasers. It's like laser attachment 1 is the only one that I have migrated over yet. The old ones are still using the old systems. As I said, we're just like trying to make sure those systems are all dialed in before I do a ton of content work related to them. Also note that not everything that will eventually be thermally tagged has been thermally tagged yet. So there's even a bunch of stuff, like most of the SOSIG clothing hasn't yet. So even if you're like spawning objects in the Arizona at night scene and checking out the little thermal cameras there, a bunch of stuff is not going to respond the way it eventually will. As I said, most of that is just not ready for showtime yet, but I was forced to. I think I didn't end up doing anything for the 4th last year. It was one of the past years, and I was like, I wanted to just do something ridiculous and explosive. Whether or not other parts of the game were ready for me to push a build for that. So that's why you're getting an experimental build today. Mainly play with the cannon, and I hope in another week or so I'll have a bunch of the like thermal and night vision stuff a little more buttoned up and more ready for like formal testing. Because yeah, right now it's just a bit of a mess. So anywho, I hope you all have an enjoyable and safe holiday weekend, if that's relevant to you. Otherwise, if you're just like, the Yanks are doing something and we get to play with a cannon, then there you go. So I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you all soon. Peace.